my gosh, is that Lex? Let's flex. So y'all, in our last video we were speaking about the 10th house. And as y'all can beautifully see here, Saturn governs the 10th house. Now, when we move on over, we see that Saturn rules the 11th house. Now, this is something that's very, very important because, as you can see, Saturn is the ancient ruler of Aquarius. Right now, the traditional ruler of Aquarius, Uranus or Uranus, but the real ruler of Aquarius is Saturn, right? So Saturn ruling Aquarius, this is now the community, right? And this is what the 11th house is indicative of, the community. And in Astrostetics, we look at the 11th house as your vision, right? Your friends. We know that the 11th house, in Astrostetics, we look at it as the house of social networking, but the 11th house is also the community, and it's also friends. Now, it's also the house of technology on a higher level, but this is the technology that brings groups of people together. And this is also what the 11th house is, right? It's groups. But this is also why in Astrostetics we look at the 11th house as social networking, because this is where people come together, and it's in a scientific sense, right? Because this essentially is an air sign, so the 11th house is also logical as well. The 11th house, Astrostetics, deals with social networking, but it also deals with the future. Now, the 11th house is also the house of unorthodox things. It's the house of eccentricities, and in Astrostetics, it represents society. Now, on a higher level, right, the 10th house, it also represents government, but then the 11th house, it represents the groups, right, and in a way humanity. So this is also why, in Astrostetics, the 11th house, it can represent mankind as well as the collective. All right, and it also governs unorthodox things, genius. All right, so Aquarius and Gemini, 11th house, 3rd house, govern genius and logic in a way. Let's get it. So yeah, continuing the 11th house, right, and also aspect of Saturn's governorship of the 11th house, and knowing that Saturn can also represent government, right? Interesting to know, Saturn also can represent control and restriction and constriction. But Saturn is really about mastery, right? So when we look at Saturn in the context of the 11th house, make sure y'all pick up a copy of Astrostetics, right? Saturn is more so about togetherness of the collective and evolving in a responsible way, because this is another thing that corresponds with Saturn, right? Responsibility. So it's maintaining, keeping people together for innovative purposes, and this is also the 11th house, innovation. It's Astrostetics. Let's get it.